Hi everyone, welcome back. So we are very, very fortunate to have a very special guest this week, who is Ray Gange.
Thank you, Patsy.
Ray Gange.
Not special, but...
No, you're pretty special, actually. So Ray and I share a birthday, 17th of May, Taurians.
Presents welcome.
Absolutely, yes, remember the day. Ding, ding. Set a calendar thing, a notification. Exactly. So we share a birthday, but we realised we had a lot of things in common and ended up... How we met, we don't really know. We think it's through the Book of Face. And which, as we've just said, you know, the intoxicating thing that we're so terrified of leaving because there's nowhere else to go. And we ended up meeting on there and then realising that we had Wendy in common, and then Wendy May, and then she's an old friend of yours, isn't she?
Well, we knew of each other for a long time, but we only really met as well when we both moved down here.
That's so weird because you're a Londoner originally, aren't you? Where?
Brixton.
Brixton. Mm-hmm. What a great
People's
place.
Republic.
Absolutely. We're back there again.
Well, it was. Not anymore.
No. So, so what drew you here?
Well, I've been coming down here since I was a kid. My grandmother had a house up in Orr in, I'm going to say, the early 70s, maybe even late 60s. That was her little... she had a boyfriend, even though she was married to my granddad. Oh. And she bought this little place in Orr as a secret little hideaway. Anyway, so I used to get brought down as a kid. Yeah. And then my mum bought a place down here in the 90s for the weekend. And then when she retired in 99, she moved down here. Mm. And then gradually, between then and now, first my dad died, then my grandmother died, so my mum was on her own. And then I was watching her, I was coming down like once a month to see her.
Oh, right.
And I was watching her deteriorate like really fast. Oh. And I realised that coming down once a month wasn't enough. And, you know, I'd made a pledge to her that I'd never put her in a care home or anything. Mm. So in the end I was like, okay, so she needs someone at least to like keep an eye on her. So I moved down here, and I guarantee you that the moment the ink dried on the paperwork for me to move down here, she suddenly perked up.
I bet she
did. Conniving or whatever, anyway. But yeah, so that was it really. That's what brought me down here, to look after her. Mm. And then she died coming up 3 years ago.
Oh, well.
And then someone said to me, oh, now that your mum's gone, are you going to go back to London? I'm like, no, I like it down here, man. I'm going to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you like?
What do I like?
Yeah, because you're an old punk rocker, aren't you?
Yeah. What do I like about it down here?
Yeah.
Well, less and less now, I suppose, in reasoning, is that it still felt a little bit edgy. I think everyone that moves here from somewhere else has a kind of an attachment in their memory banks. Mm-hmm. So for me, it kind of felt like Brixton in the 80s. Yeah. And I'm guessing people that move over from Brighton, it felt like Brighton did 20 years ago to them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, well, you can't see it in this room now, but you know, we've got that big wet thing just down the road.
Our blue space. Yeah. As opposed to green space, we've got a blue space.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like being by the sea every day, even if you don't go down to the beach, being able to look at the sea every day, it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, and it's a bit attitudey.
It has got a punk element to it, hasn't it? It's got a real, because what you just said about it being, to me, East London. Right. It was when I never thought I'd leave. You know, I'm an Essex straight East London girl, or East London straight Essex straight East London girl, and subsequently, when I got here, it was like, oh, it's captured a bit of my heart.
Yeah.
It's a weird sort of infection.
Well, especially, when did you come down?
82.
Bloody hell, you've been down here that long?
Yes, mate.
Oh my God, wow.
I know.
Oh, you're almost a native.
I'm almost a native. It's the longest place.
I'm not sure what the cut-off point is, but anyway.
Know it is.
But it probably, even for you then, it's kind of like, as the areas that we live in change, generally not for what we would consider the better, and then you come somewhere like this and it does, that's what kind of makes it work. So all the local people that watch this are going to be saying, no, we've had enough of you, not stop coming down here.
No, No, I agree. There is a cut-off point because
Yeah.
we've only got 180 degrees of availability here.
Yeah.
We've got because of the sea.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
we're not like a 360. We're a 180.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and so I think we make the most of it here.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's a really unique town. So what about the creatives here? Because you
There's a lot of them, isn't there?
there's a lot because you were here for a while and then. The Rogue Gallery
Yeah.
appears on Norman Road, which is you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The Rogue.
Well, where I opened the first one, because we're in our second one now.
Yeah.
Not that I've got two of them, but
No.
we moved.
Yeah.
So where I opened the first one was right opposite where I live.
Yeah.
And my kitchen's on the top floor, and I was standing at the sink looking out the window, and the people that had been using this shop were moving out.
Uh-huh.
So I was just looking at it, and I thought, oh, that would be a good spot for a gallery. And then I thought about how many years, because I left art school in like the end of the 90s. So I thought about how many times over the years I've talked about, oh, it would be nice to have a gallery, blah, blah, blah. So then when I was looking at this shop and I had that thought, I was like, you've said this to yourself so many times. There's the perfect spot.
Yes.
If you don't do it,
yes.
shut up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. You can't tell that story anymore.
No, exactly. Even to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So that was that really. So rang the landlady, made a deal, moved in, opened up.
Brilliant.
And now,
That's so Hastings.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, well, the good thing about a gallery is like I had a mate that opened a coffee shop down here, one of the 200, but anyway. but to open a coffee shop, you need like 10 grand or 15 grand to open it.
Yeah.
To open a gallery, you need a month's rent
And a couple of
and a
nails.
tin of paint,
Yeah.
So, and that's it.
So cool to know.
great.
Yeah. So I would advise anyone who's thinking about doing it, go and do it.
Yeah.
So that's
But
it really.
there's
isn't it?
more. You need a bit of nous. You need to know people that, can bring in their good work for you
Well-
to then display. You need to have a bit of a storytelling headset.
Hopefully, yeah.
Mindset, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that's what I've been doing. It's like,
Yeah.
I've had a few people come in recently and said, "Oh, you've done another really great show." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "Okay, great. Why don't you buy something?"
Yeah, sure.
It's like, because at the end of the day, it's like, the rent's got to be paid, the electricity's got to be paid, the redecorating's got to be paid. It's like,
Yeah.
It's not all about the private view, is it?
No.
Where people sort of flow out onto the pavement as they do, and I love my bougie words, but they stand there and it's weren't you at the private view of, and you see that especially when it comes to the spring, every other Friday and Saturday there's another private view,
which is all lovely.
great, which is great.
Yeah,
but
but
buy the paintings.
yeah, because it's like that thing of like, oh, isn't it a shame that wonderful deli shut down? That was so lovely. Oh, when was the last time you went there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not for about 18 months.
No.
That's it. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever it is that people like, if they don't support it,
Yeah.
then they fold,
That's
don't
it,
they?
That's it. Yeah.
I am a patron.
Well
You
done.
are?
I'm a
Oh,
patron.
You are.
great. So you got a patronage
Yeah,
attached to
I
it,
do actually,
the
yeah.
gallery. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the last two people that came in are people that come in like fairly often, so, which is nice. Nice to be
Yeah.
supported,
Yeah.
Where was art school for you?
Where, Chelsea?
Chelsea. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was all right. It was great, actually. When I left, someone said to me, "What did you enjoy most about being at art school?" I said, "Being around the other students and the technicians.
Yeah.
Most of the tutors, apart from one or two, were a waste of space. I almost had a fight with one in the second year, and I kind of thought, if I have a fight with them, they'll kick me out. But, we didn't get on very well.
Words.
What kind of artwork were you doing? Was it painting? Or...
No, I was doing conceptual sculpture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which were the kind of things that, like, people that aren't into conceptual work just used to look at it and go, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
But,
Do you ever show any of yours?
what, my work? I did a solo show in my gallery back in, God blimey, 3 January. My second show, whenever that was, my second show was a solo
that
show.
was you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it was the one that I publicised least because I didn't think about it. Because I wasn't working on behalf of anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if I'm doing a show of your work, I'm pumping
You'll
it
go
out
for
to
it.
everyone.
Yeah.
Because it was my own, I kind of forgot that I needed to do that. So it was kind of interesting.
That's really interesting. I think
Yeah.
that's the struggle that lots of artists have,
Yeah.
is pushing themselves out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than, you know, do it for a mate, do it for someone else. But
Yeah, I know, it's
turning that
bizarre.
back on yourself.
It's a really weird psychological block, and I think
Yeah.
loads have it.
Yeah.
Unless
for
you're
sure.
Damien Hirst or Tracy Emin, then like they're pretty
Yeah.
good at that.
They are good at that, yeah. They've got a team, haven't they?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
You know,
I don't know if they always did, but yeah.
maybe not, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it's cool.
So YBAs would have been before you?
Yeah. They were just starting to get well known as I went to college,
Right.
even though like I wasn't aware of them until I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that was kind of weird. It was like until I went to art college, I didn't really have any interest in art. You know, and then suddenly like through various circumstances, I found myself at art college. So then once I got into it, then I started like. Then you go to all the openings, you go to all the other galleries. So then you just start devouring all that other information.
So is that what's because I noticed that being on the Book of Face, I've watched your different trips to different places to go and see.
Well, if I'm going to go away somewhere,
Yeah.
I'll try and work out, you know, what art things are going on in that city. You know, it's like, and if I can't find anything of interest to me art-wise, then I probably won't go.
Yeah. That's what attracts you into the
Yeah,
city.
you know, like I went to Mexico last year, and Mexico City, I just spent like almost all day, every day for a week, just going to this gallery, this museum, bum, bum, bum.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Bilbao, the Guggenheim, that I'd really recommend anyone if they haven't been to go. You know, that was fantastic. So yeah.
I've been to the Guggenheim in New York, which I thought was
There you go, nice.
astonishing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Didn't like it?
No, I loved it.
Oh, right.
Astonishing. I would just like, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, I kind of think it's like, you know, I love living here with the beach and all the rest of it, but like someone was talking to me the other day that they went to one of the Canary Islands and they spent all day for a week on the beach.
Oh no.
And I'm like, why would you do that?
No.
No. I can't
You
do
know, so especially if you live here,
Yeah.
you know, but so like to me, like going on holiday to just lie around and do what you can do at home.
Sure.
You
No,
know.
that's not a holiday.
No, exactly. So for me, it's got to be art based, really. Or occasionally, I might go to another country to see a band. You know, but like a few years ago, Guns N' Roses were doing a world tour, and I was away when they played London.
Oh.
But someone that I know knows one of Guns N' Roses, so he got me on the guest list for a gig in Holland.
No way.
So me and my girlfriend went to that gig for free, except it cost £600.
Which it probably would have cost for the ticket in London
Probably,
anyway.
yeah, probably.
Could have
Yeah.
gone to Oasis, mate.
No, it's okay.
You're all smiling for
Oh,
life.
don't. I saw Oasis once. It was one of the most tedious gigs I've ever seen.
Was it? Yeah.
Mind you, it was in Watford, so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it didn't excite me at all.
No, not for me.
Duff was my pin-up when I was a kid.
Oh,
Duff
really?
McKagan was like the pin-up on my
Right.
wall. My brother put spots on the poster. I went absolutely
Oh,
mental at
really?
him.
Not
that's
even
so
like Damien Hirst spots?
No. I mean, they were purple. They were, you know,
Oh.
like it went with the background. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, that's
impressed
funny.
with
It was
that.
Duff that put me on the guest list because
Was it
of that.
really?
Yeah.
No, don't do this to me. Okay,
Yeah,
the
and
fan
he's,
back.
I've met him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy.
Is he? I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it gets
okay.
worse and worse, doesn't it?
Oh, I wrote him a poem, like
Did you?
to him for Valentine's Day that went into like a little publication at school.
Okay.
Very embarrassing, but yeah. Anyway,
Matter.
carry on.
Yeah,
on.
moving on. Moving
Yes,
on.
but well, to me though, Duff's great because Duff's like the real punk rocker in that band. Do you know what I mean? So anything they do that's remotely punky is because of him.
Sure.
Yeah,
know.
he did a lot of his own stuff for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, no, that's funny.
down memory road there. Memory lane, memory road. Yeah.
Wow, nice. I think that once a punk rocker, always a punk rocker.
Kind of hard to leave it behind. Yeah, I
Yeah.
try to every now and again, but he comes out. You know, which
Does
is
he have a
alright.
different name?
No,
No,
same
same
name.
name.
Probably it's
Yeah.
got an expletive in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
know.
Gange.
I know, but see, Billy Idol nicked that, so I kind of feel like I can't do that. BFI, he calls himself.
Oh, does he?
That's
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
and I'll give him his credit. BFI sort of
British Film
scans.
Institute.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Well, you can do both, can't you?
Yeah, do whatever you like.
So talk to me, Ray. Talk to us. Talk to the town.
Hi.
So what's happening in the latest exhibition?
Well, I've got an exhibition on at the moment by a guy called Alexander Johnson, and I'm trying to watch my language. Are we allowed to say the occasional naughty word on here?
You can, because it will just be.
Oh,
bleeped.
right, okay,
Will be
great.
there.
All right. So he's a f***ing great painter. Oh, thank God.
And relax.
It's so hard keeping it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good painter, and what he does, he collects little lead figures or little toy figures, like toy cars, little people, and then he just makes paintings based on those, but they'll either be individual paintings, so like portraits of these little figures, or he'll put them all together in like a scenario. I think in the old days they'd call it a tableau.
Sure, tableau, yeah.
And then he'd make, like, I've got some paintings in the gallery right now, 3 of them that are like 5 foot by 6 or something, maybe bigger than that, I can't remember.
Nice.
Yeah, so they've got all these different characters in them. And one of them, he's based his painting on a Hieronymus Bosch painting.
Oh, I love Hieronymus.
That's really good. He's got another one that's called The Peace Conference. But when you look at it, you can see that he's kind of based it on The Last Supper. But with all these strange little characters, you know, there's a mad monkey in a couple of them. Yeah, just all these different things. You know, there's a cat that's walking along really cool, smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
That got bought straight away. And then it was
Right.
like, you know, really popular one. So yeah, no, they're really incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a proper painter, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, he's not trying to replicate anything, you know, he's getting his source material and then he's going into there and something different's coming out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you know, and you look at them and it's kind of like when people come in the gallery, if I'm in there on my own, they'll say, oh, is this your work? And I end up so many times with the shows that I'm like, no, I wish it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I wish it was my work. But
That's
no,
great.
but yeah, Alexander Johnson, he's really fantastic. So he comes from kind of out like near Lewis, you know. So I've tried to keep people as local as possible for like
that.
most of the shows,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
you know. But it doesn't always fit in, do you know what I mean? So kind of like,
It's good to mix it up as well.
yeah, exactly.
But it's I collect local
Right.
if I can and living. I want them to be
Right.
alive when I buy it.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
there's that slogan, isn't there, that says, buy art from living artists, the dead ones don't need the money.
Exactly.
It's so true.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
that. So I look around my walls and you'll bump into them in the doom and gloom and it's
Right.
like, oh, I love your paintings. It's so good. They're on my wall. And yeah, no, I think it's important. Yeah, but look after them financially.
Exactly. But yeah, people should come down and see this one. So it finishes on the 27th.
Right.
We're open Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the next show after that is May the 10th.
Okay.
Which should be good. That's 3 generations of females from the same family.
Nice.
So like granddaughter. How do you word that? Right, you've got granddaughter and grandmother.
Yeah.
So what's the word that you'd use for the middle one?
The mother.
Yeah, but she's not the grandmother's mum, is she? So it kind of is it
No,
that
it's just got
straightforward?
3 generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. So that's
Local ones or
no Molly Parkin. You know Molly Parkin. Molly Parkin's the grandmother.
Oh wow.
Her daughter Sophie is the mum, and Sophie's daughter Carson is the daughter.
Wow.
So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
so Molly's based here or
No, up in London somewhere. Well, she was in London. I don't know.
Yeah. Will she come for the? Will any of them come for?
Sophie definitely will.
Yeah.
Hopefully Carson will. I don't think Molly can. I don't think Molly's in like.
That great help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but it should be a good show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So is it a good? I've lost the word now. It's gone straight out of my head. Private view for Alexander's.
Oh, we had that 2 weeks ago, I guess. Yeah, because when did we open? God, I mean, days go quiet, don't they? 2 Saturdays ago, whatever that was.
Yeah.
That was the private view. That was nice. You know, but it's like, you know, although private views are fun and everyone has a nice time and you get pictures and all the rest of it, it's kind of tiring.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you know, but it's good.
It's the same people turn up for them.
Near enough, yeah. Yeah.
You do that, don't you? You turn up and they go, oh, usual suspects.
Yeah, I keep waiting for someone to say, "Oh, the wine that you get now isn't as nice as the wine that you used to get," which I don't know because I don't drink, so I haven't got. I just go in the shop and take it off the shelf. I ain't got a clue what it tastes like.
Absolutely. Dash around Lidl, grab some back, some, on the
Yeah.
co-op.
I'd go in the shop and ask the geezer, like, what you giving me the best deal on? I keep trying to get various people to sponsor me, but I'm not very good at asking people for stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're an artist, and that's what artists struggle with, the business side of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's why they have agents.
I
isn't
know.
it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if gallery owners have agents, but if they do, maybe I should find one.
Yeah.
So what's involved in that? What would be involved in you being
For the agent?
sponsored? Yeah.
Just approaching different people that make or deal in booze that are happy to give it to you for free because people will see it. I don't really know.
There must be a
Absolutely.
local, winery.
I've asked a couple of local breweries, but they've not
That's a
replied.
great
They've not
Oh,
responded
okay.
to me.
That's
I
foolish,
know,
isn't it?
I know,
Yeah.
What a great opportunity.
but I know.
Because you can do it. Actually, you could do it for free. Someone said to me recently. They said, well, if you have their, if they turn up with some, a product, and you splash it all around town, it's a very good thing.
Oh
for
yeah,
you.
for sure, yeah. Yeah, but I've left messages for people. I've sent emails and had no response. So I get quite bolshy. So I'm kind of like, if I've asked you twice, I ain't going to ask you a third time. Do you know?
Because you could do it for Brewing Brothers, couldn't you? You could go to Brewing Brothers and say, can you turn up?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're one of the people that I've asked.
Oh, we might have to ask them again. Brewing Brothers,
Yeah.
would you come
it's
along
gonna
and do
happen.
these?
It
'Cause
will.
they're good. They're good for
Yeah.
things like that, aren't they?
Don't know.
Yeah.
They get a lot of splash on their socials, which
Yeah,
is very
I know,
good for
but,
them.
you know. What can you do? What can you
never
do?
know. You never know what might
do.
happen next to you. That's the
Nah.
fun thing about this.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever comes my way. Do you know what I mean? But I'm like,
Sure.
I've got too many other things to do to like remember that. Oh, okay, this person didn't get back to me. I'll go.
No, fair.
I'm like,
Yeah, well, you're a creative and an artist, and you've got a gallery.
and probably got ADHD and this and that.
Well,
So
know.
this was a conversation we had. It was a long conversation. We were there for hours. It was like, just have a quick cup of tea, and it took all afternoon, as is the want of neurodiverse people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You suddenly realise, there's so much in common.
So many tangents.
How
Yeah.
nice.
hilarious is that?
Yeah, the tangents don't stop coming, do they?
Yeah.
I said no, like a gibbon. It was like, yeah.
Another thing.
It did.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
So Alexander Johnson is current until the
27th of April.
27th, and then after that on the 10th you've
10th
got
of May,
Molly Parkin
and
and
family,
a family.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's lovely.
Really cool.
yeah, and it's called the parking lot.
The parking lot.
Nice
Oh.
name.
I know, I've got to give Sophie credit for that, I think.
Oh, the
Well done,
parking
Sophie.
lot. I love
Yeah.
this. This is so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are
so
your
that'd be fun.
favourite spots to relax in and around the area? Where do you go to?
Oh, that's a good question.
Chill. Take
I used to go to Goat Ledge a lot, but too many people down there for me and too noisy. I'm like,
you want a little bit of quiet.
It's very buzzy, isn't it?
yeah. I was watching a comedian on Instagram the other day, and he's probably about like 38 or 40, and he said, "I'm never going to another nightclub." He said, "I went to a nightclub last week, and all I wanted them to do was turn the music up."
Yeah. Well, we joke about it on here because we talk about afternoon gigs, and we say,
Right.
"Isn't it so nice? You've got a gig that's sort of 4:30 to 7:30. You can go home and put your feet up."
Yeah. So Goat Ledge I used to go to a lot, and I still tell other people to go down there, but for me it's just too hectic, Starsky and Hatch I like to go into,
I
but
love
they've just
that.
closed.
Closed, I know. We will mourn the loss.
Where else? The Kino I spend a lot of time in. Really though,
Comfy, with those comfy chairs.
I know.
So it's a very expensive nap.
I know, yeah. But the thing is, for me, and I don't know if many people get this, but when I moved down here, I had all these ideas about, I was going to walk to Rockanaw and back every day, or I was going to walk to Bexhill and back. Now I barely leave my street.
Yeah, but it takes you a long time to get down your road, though, doesn't it?
Well, that's right. Well, because you've got to say hello to
You've got to
everyone.
say hello to
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
You got that. You got the dogs.
Yeah,
You know, you got the dog walkers. You got all the
exactly.
you
Yeah,
got
so
all
it's
the people
like,
who know you.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Do I have any favourite places? I don't know if I do anymore. Just, you know, I just go out and about, really.
Yeah.
We're always bumping into
Have a
each
bit.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
that's nice.
nice,
Oh, there
yeah.
he is. You can always spot you. You've got a you've got a particular walk.
Have I?
You can always you can always spot.
Did you know what? You just reminded me. I was in Paris one time, and some geezer came running up behind me, and I was like, "Shit, what's going on?" And even though we haven't talked about this punk rock film that I did, he recognised the way that I walked. He
Really?
recognised the way that I walked from being in this film.
Oh,
Wow.
nice one.
Yeah, and I'm like, it didn't make any sense to me because I've never watched me walk down the street. Do you know what I mean?
You've got a particular
Right.
gait.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got the Gange gait going.
Right.
That's what it is. It's the Gange gait. So this is a segue, really. We weren't even going to talk about it.
No.
But Jamie asked the question.
Well, can you tell us about the film that you were in many moons ago? Was it called Rude Boy?
Yeah, it was called Rude Boy. Yeah, God knows why, but it was. Basically,
Was it about the Ska movement?
sorry.
Was it about?
No, that's the problem. Is that like? Well, the thing is, when they made the film, they made it. I'll tell them about it in a minute. But they made the film in 1978,
Right.
but it didn't come out until 1980.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it was about the Clash for anyone that's listening. So there's a bit where Joe Strummer's at the end of a song. Joe Strummer used to go into all these like rambles, sometimes it unintelligible, whatever the word is. Anyway, so he hit on this phrase: "No one knows what the rude boy knows. Rudy, 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 blah blah blah." And so the filmmakers who don't understand anything about street life or street culture latched onto that and decided to call the film Rude Boy. But because it didn't come out till 1980. Then the whole two-tone movement came along in between.
And it was Rude Boy.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of confusion in that. You know, so a lot of people are like, you know, you've really given this the wrong title.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
but you know,
yeah. So you were in it.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were in it?
19.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I worked in a record shop, and I'd become friends with Joe Strummer, so I met the Clash and used to hang out with them. And
Like
then
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And a customer that used to come in the record shop was a filmmaker. And he told me one day that his company were going to make a documentary about the Clash. He didn't say documentary, he said we're going to make a film about them.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, great, yeah, I know those guys. Da, 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 da." And then a few weeks later, excuse me, he came back in and said, "Oh, we need someone else to be in it, to be like, I don't know what the word would be, but just kind of like, to represent your average person, I suppose."
Nice.
So did I want to be in it? And I was kind of like, not really, but anyway, eventually I agreed to do it. And I did an interview for an extras DVD that they were releasing. And one of the questions the guy said to me was, what do you think of it as a film? And I said, well, I'll put it this way, it's not in my top 10. You know.
Nice teaser. Nice teaser.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's an interesting document of what England was like in 1978.
Really important time.
Yeah, and the music's great. And, you know, even though like now, you know, well, I don't know about now, but there was a period where the Clash became really massive. But they weren't really massive back then. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people wouldn't have seen them.
No.
And can't anyway. So as a document of that, it's great. The rest of it, it's a bit weird. Someone else said to me, they said, it was like reality TV before anyone knew about reality TV, where you had all of these people being themselves, but in constructed situations.
Sure.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
Like a Mike Lee or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except not as well made.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that, yeah.
Talking of BFI, we could probably find it on there, could we? If we were looking for it.
It was on Mubi quite recently.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nice.
yeah, you know, if someone's really determined to go and find it, they'll find
I'll
it.
go and find it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
All right.
I signed
yeah.
up for movie, like the the
Right.
free bit at the beginning.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then suddenly now they're charging me.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still doing it,
Unsubscribe.
but can you sign out and then rejoin for free?
It's a good question. Probably.
Might have to try it.
I have to.
But every time I try and do that, you know, like these things where it says, you know, 7 days for free,
Yeah,
and you can cancel any time.
sure.
Do
The
you get
next,
arrested?
the next thing I know is 20 quid's disappeared out my bank
Absolutely.
account.
Me
Yeah, yeah,
too.
all the
Me
time.
too.
All
And
the
that's
time.
what they cash in
Yeah.
because they think nah, they're not going to remember.
No,
And we
and-
don't.
And I tried one time going through my bank account. This sounds terrible if anyone's really savvy with money, but I'd go through my bank account trying to look at like things that are coming out to try and catch one.
Yeah.
And as I'm going down the list, it all just starts blurring into.
Yeah.
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 And it's all about 20 quid.
Mine pop up and they say, "Oh, you're sending money to Google, £20," and I'm like, "Why?
How?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?" And it's it'll be an app that I bought that I just have to have for gardening.
I found out I've got Apple TV last week.
Oh, you found out?
Yeah. I had no idea.
You got Prime somewhere. You primed.
I don't know. Well, that's the other one, isn't it? That's,
it's Amazon.
that's
sorry.
the troll, isn't it?
That's the troll.
No, Apple TV, and I'm like, where did I get that from?
Yeah.
So now I'm like, so I started watching something on Apple TV for the first time. Anyway, so now I'm like, how much am I paying every month for this, and how long have I been paying it? Do you know what I mean? I might have been paying it for 5 years.
I
I
could
don't
have had
know.
it for at least 3 years. Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you've been an absolute treat
No, thank you.
today.
Oh, it's
You've
been
made
nice
us
to come along.
laugh. It's really interesting. There's loads. I know there's loads to unpack with you, Ray Gange. But so yeah, go to Rogue. It's Thursdays through Saturdays. Sunday.
Yeah.
So go to Rogue.
Go Rogue.
Go Rogue. Go meet the lovely.
So when I've been open about 6 months, one of my mates goes to me, "Here, have you noticed? Rogue Gallery is the same initials as Ray Gange."
Yeah.
I went, "No."
That's
You
just
did that
too
on
freaky.
purpose.
But someone actually typed it in the other day and put it in as Rouge.
Oh, I've
And
actually.
I'm like with Rogue One, the Star Wars
Yeah.
film, and they kept putting it up as Rouge One
Was-
because it kept auto correcting.
When I was like looking through, because I was trying to work out something that I could use my initials. So when I came up with Rogue, I thought, oh yeah, Rogue One, Star Wars.
Yeah,
And then I thought, you remember 2000 AD, it had Rogue Trooper.
yeah.
But I had a friend from Sweden, and she said, I keep trying to look up your gallery and I can't find it. And I said, are you looking it up right? And she sent me a message, like a cut and paste. And it was actually
Yeah.
Rouge Gallery.
That's it, Rouge.
Yeah.
That's
Every
your
time.
That'll be my cosmetic.
It will be your cosmetic. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, darling.
Oh, you're
coming
welcome.
in.
Thanks for asking
It's
me.
been loads of fun. We're just going to cheers you out.
Cheers.
Nice one.
Cheers, Ray.
Lovely. Cheers, Jamie.
Cheers.
Cheers.